The Rooftop Encounter, Evelyn Carter, an aspiring writer with a passion for literature and poetry. Evelyn is intelligent, introverted, and thoughtful. She finds solace in books and art, often escaping into her own world. She has an air of quiet beauty, with chestnut hair and deep expressive eyes that seem to carry the weight of all the stories she's read. Leo Montgomery, a charismatic and creative photographer with a love for adventure. Leo is outgoing, witty, and has an infectious energy. He has an eye for capturing the world in unique ways and enjoys living in the moment. With tousled dark hair and an easy smile, he draws people in effortlessly. Chapter 1, A Chance Meeting. Evelyn Carter had always been drawn to the quiet corners of the world, where stories seemed to linger in the air. She found one such corner during her freshman year at NYU, a small cafe on the edge of Washington Square Park, where she spent most afternoons with a book and a notebook. It was here that she first met Leo Montgomery. Leo was hard to miss, bursting into the cafe with a camera slung around his neck, eyes scanning the room as if he were searching for something extraordinary. He noticed Evelyn sitting in the back, lost in the pages of a novel, her face half hidden by a curtain of chestnut hair. Without hesitation, he approached her. "Mind if I take your photo?" Leo asked, his voice casual but curious. Evelyn looked up, startled by the intrusion into her quiet world. She blinked, unsure how to respond.
"Why?"
"There's something about the way you're sitting there, so deep in thought," Leo explained, pointing to the light that filtered through the window, casting a soft glow on her. "It's perfect." Reluctantly, Evelyn agreed, and Leo snapped a few photos. They exchanged a few words, and before she knew it, they were talking for hours. Despite their differences, she, the introspective writer, he, the adventurous photographer, they shared a deep connection. Leo brought light into Evelyn's quiet world, while Evelyn grounded Leo's restless energy. They began to meet regularly, their conversations growing deeper, their bond stronger. Chapter 2, A College Romance. As the semesters passed, Evelyn and Leo's relationship blossomed. They spent their days exploring the city, wandering through bookstores and art galleries, talking about everything from philosophy to their dreams for the future. Evelyn found herself opening up to Leo in ways she never had before, her quiet nature giving way to the warmth of his presence. Leo, in turn, found comfort in Evelyn's steadiness. She saw the world differently than anyone else he knew, and her thoughtful perspective balanced his impulsive tendencies. He would capture the world through his lens, and she would capture it in her words. But like all college romances, theirs was not without challenges. As graduation loomed closer, the reality of their different paths began to set in. Leo was offered a job as a travel photographer, a dream opportunity that would take him around the world. Evelyn, meanwhile, was determined to stay in New York and pursue her writing career. They parted ways with promises to stay in touch, but as time went on, the distance grew. Evelyn buried herself in her writing, while Leo traveled from city to city, capturing the world but feeling increasingly disconnected from it. They lost touch, the connection that once seemed unbreakable fading into memory. Chapter 3, The Rooftop Reunion. Years passed. Evelyn had published her first novel, and though she had found success, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. She often thought of Leo, wondering where he was, if he was still chasing sunsets across the globe. She missed the way he made her see the world differently, the way he made her feel alive. One rainy night in New York City, after a particularly long day, Evelyn found herself wandering the streets near her old college. The city was a blur of lights and sounds, the rain turning the sidewalks into mirrors reflecting the neon signs. She felt an inexplicable pull toward an old building she hadn't visited in years, the rooftop where she and Leo used to meet during college. She made her way up the familiar stairs, her heart pounding with memories. The rooftop was just as she remembered, quiet, with a view of the city skyline that stretched out endlessly before her. She stood there, lost in thought, when she heard a familiar voice behind her. "Funny seeing you here." Evelyn turned around, and there he was, Leo, standing in the rain, his camera in hand, a smile on his lips that hadn't changed in all these years.
"Leo,"
she whispered, her voice catching in her throat. They stood there, staring at each other, the weight of the years between them heavy but filled with something unspoken. Leo stepped closer, his eyes searching hers, and Evelyn felt her heart race like it hadn't in years. "I've thought about you," Leo said, his voice softer now. "Everywhere I went, every picture I took, I thought about how you would see it, what you would write." Evelyn's breath caught.
"I've thought about you too. I missed you."
They stood there, the rain falling around them, the city buzzing below, but for a moment it felt like they were the only two people in the world. Without another word, Leo closed the distance between them, pulling her into his arms. Evelyn felt the warmth of him, the familiarity of his touch, and for the first time in years she felt whole. They stayed on that rooftop for hours, talking about everything and nothing, catching up on the years they had lost. The rain eventually stopped, but neither of them noticed. They had found each other again, and in that moment nothing else mattered. Chapter 4: A New Beginning. As dawn broke over the city, Leo and Evelyn stood side by side, watching the sun rise over the skyline. The light painted the city in shades of gold, and for the first time in a long time, Evelyn felt a sense of peace. "I'm not letting you go this time," Leo said, his voice firm but filled with warmth. "No more distance, no more running." Evelyn smiled, her heart swelling with the hope of a new beginning.
"No more running."
And so, on that rooftop where their story had begun years ago, Evelyn and Leo decided to write a new chapter together.